Hi, this is Roxy Rose. I'm back with another section of transitioning in particularly late in life, because it did happen very late for me. I transitioned at 47. I'm 49 now. This video clip, amongst others, are meant to maybe answer a few questions as to, why I waited so long to transition, and how come I got married, how come I had children, etc. So, as I said in the earlier section, socializing was very difficult. Being around 12 or 13 and trying to go to school was very difficult for me. So I chose to cut class most often, and I would rather spend my day walking around the streets of Palm Springs alone rather than go to school where I was supposed to. So it wasn't too much time that took place until my parents decided to just take me out of school, which they did in the 8th grade. I was about 15 and a half maybe, and they couldn't really keep me in school, so they just decided to take me out of school. Though legally they had to keep me in some sort of education, so they agreed to put me into continuation school for 2 days a week. I was supposed to check in, and they were supposed to homeschool me, but that never happened. And continuation was kind of a joke, a little bit, the teachers there, and even the principal would come to our house, because my mom and dad socialized with the teachers at continuation school. And oftentimes you would find the president of the school drunk on our couch on the weekends, which was kind of funny, but you could see that, I didn't really have to attend continuation school. So unfortunately, my education ended at the 8th grade. As I said, for a transgender person, socializing is really, really difficult, and it's and for a lot of us, it continues well into life, adulthood, socializing, because you're constantly criticizing yourself for being transgender, and that keeps such a distance from other people that may genuinely want to be close to you and be your friend. But you think nobody will ever like you if they knew who you were. So that socializing is very difficult. But anyways, so I was supposed to go to continuation school, and I never really did. That's the time I was about 15, and my parents thought, well, Roxy's doing such a terrible job at school and getting into so much trouble, well, let's put her to work. Well, we had a family business, so that was really convenient. They put me to work at the family business. So at age 15 and a half, I was working 45 hours a week. It was kind of like, it was a cross between teaching Roxy to be responsible and punishment. So I was made to work. I mean, I didn't have a choice in the matter. And as I said in the earlier segments, that we were raised very religiously. We were raised in a Jehovah's Witness religion. And I didn't really want anything to do with that religion, and I didn't want anything to do with our family business at the time either. But like I said, it was kind of like punishment. So you kind of had to do, you had to toe the line in our family. But anyways, so I did work at the family business, long hours, so it didn't give you much time to spend your money. So I was able to save up a fair amount of money, which was a big plus for a young girl, So I got a nice sports car when I was 16, so it was a Porsche, really. So I had a thing for Porsches. And I loved driving fast, too. I got into a fair amount of trouble when I wasn't working. Got into drugs. Not terribly bad, but, they surely didn't do me any good then. But, I was young. I was 16, getting into trouble. And as with the case with my friends, they were always hunting for women at that age, and I went along with it, but luckily I never was successful. I always thought of every reason in the world why not to have sex. And it was kind of difficult at times because girls of that age, sometimes they want to have sex, and I didn't. So, I would go out with my friends, and we would meet some girls, and then we'd go back to somebody's house or somewhere, and they would go off and do their thing, and I would, oh dear, I would just weasel out of it. I wouldn't have sex, didn't want to, didn't think it was something I wanted. Though I have to suggest that, I have to say that I wasn't attracted to men. I wasn't attracted to women. I really didn't know where I belonged in life, really. Homosexuality just didn't seem right for me. And certainly women didn't either. I envied women. I admired certain aspects of them. In fact, I like to look at Playboy magazines. But not like you think. I would look at Playboy magazines like a lady looks at a Sears catalog or Victoria's Secret's catalog or something like that, and I would pick out different body parts and think, I would pick out a small set of breasts because I thought, well, I could hide those under a tight T-shirt. So, though I always wanted big ones, and I got them finally. I always picked out the small ones, like, I could manage to hide those because I was not out to anybody ever. But anyway, so, being an adolescent, I just wasn't interested in girls. And then I met this guy who was in the same line of work as I was. He was from the Bay Area. He was gay. I wasn't interested in him sexually. He was just this really nice guy. And I tried to convince him into letting me come up to the Bay Area with him and start a business up there. I thought to myself that would give me kind of a new lease on life, get me out from underneath my family and their religion and their business, etc. But he was involved in a relationship at the time, and it just didn't work out. Meanwhile, I was busy getting into trouble around Palm Springs, and at that time I thought, well, I never had sex, and maybe there's something about it. Maybe I need to experience sex and then that would give me the ability to actually know whether or not I wanted sex with a woman. So I went out and got me a girlfriend, and she had a bad reputation. So that would make things easy. And she had a body like a Playboy centerfold. I figure if you're going to drive a car, you might as well drive a sports car, right? Well, the same philosophy was there too. So I got this girl. She agreed to be my girlfriend, and we went steady. And she immediately wanted to have sex, and I just couldn't. Even though that was the reason why I formed a relationship with her, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. But there was this one evening where I really couldn't avoid it any longer, and she was getting very annoyed at that. And so we agreed we'd go to the park, and we'd get a couple blankets, and we'd go do that. She had no idea of my feelings and the fact that she didn't even know that I never had sex, And well, we got there, and I did as much drugs as I possibly could in order to get prepared for the job. And she stripped down to nothing and laid on the blanket, posed like a Playboy centerfold. And then I got undressed, and I looked over, and, she had her legs up in the air like some, who knows. And I looked there, and I looked between her legs, and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, do I really have to do that? That's kind of gross. And I didn't want to do it. And I'll leave out the details of everything, but let's just say I was a flop. I was just a flop that evening. Couldn't do anything, didn't want to do anything. She was annoyed, and we just had to call it a night. And that was it. That is the extent of my sexual experience before I was married. So not much there as far as sexual experience. But a little while after that, I was on my way home one evening, and I was involved in a very serious accident, which kind of changed my life and the future of my life. So I'm going to talk about that in the next section. But meanwhile, it's nice to make these videos, and I hope that somebody's watching them. They're somewhat therapeutic for me. A lot of these things I've never been able to talk about, especially in the next section regarding my accident. I wasn't able to talk about it all my life, and just recently have I been able to think about it and talk about it. So that's what I'm going to address in the next section. So for right now, this has been Roxy Rose, a set of video clips dealing with transition, and in particularly late transition, as with my case. I look forward to seeing you again in the next clips. And like I said, this has been Roxy Rose. Bye-bye.